and welcome to this special update from Monday Minute. This is Ken Freeman with a special live interview with Kristen Hansen.
Kristen, you've got some exciting news here on this Friday, and you've got something really special to tell our audience. What is that?
Well, I sure do, Ken, and I'm so thankful for an opportunity to talk to you and your audience. Just sitting in my office late Friday afternoon, and got an email that a law that had been passed in Baltimore against pregnancy centers is now declared unconstitutional because it unfairly targets them just because of their viewpoint on abortion, and is a violation of the freedom of speech. So
well, I think this is like a landmark ruling, if you will.
Absolutely.
Because while the other side was saying if we could get this ruling, it could, spread across the nation.
Absolutely.
What will it now do to the rest of the nation?
Absolutely. Pregnancy centers have been fighting back this legislation against them from groups that advocate for abortion across the nation. And Baltimore was the first area where they were successful in passing one of these bills. And a law had been passed and was immediately, a lawsuit was filed by the Archdiocese of Baltimore. And CareNet and others have been putting an argument saying, this is unconstitutional. No other group is having to face this kind of regulation. And the whole aim of this bill really was to ultimately shut us down and made pregnancy centers open to all sorts of lawsuits that would put them out of business. So this sends a clarion call across the nation to other areas where groups like NARAL and Planned Parenthood are trying this, that such legislative efforts will not be upheld.
Wonderful. Because I know that not only did they hit Baltimore, but they came to Texas. They have been in many states trying to do similar thing. And
absolutely. There's been a similar bill passed in Austin, Texas. So this may send a message to that area.
That's right.
Another county in Maryland. And right now, New York City is faced with legislation that they have not yet voted on. So this decision, this ruling comes down right in the middle of the city council members hearing from pro-lifers in New York City saying, don't pass this bill. We need our pregnancy centers.
Absolutely.
In addition, Washington State is taking a look at a bill.
I know. Well, and Kristen, as we kind of step back from just the shock and awe of this ruling, give us some more insight as to what this could mean to that local, especially the local rural center who's possibly just doesn't even have a thought about how she was going to have to deal with all this new stuff.
Well, absolutely. This, someone may say, what's the big deal? This is Baltimore. How does it affect me? Well, groups like NARAL were looking for a test case. If they could get a bill passed that would withhold the legal challenge, then that would be the bill they would introduce across the nation. So that means not just in Baltimore, but in every state and in every rural area where people seek to offer pro-life pregnancy center support. So, and even if you have 100% perfect pregnancy center, you would be subject to this type of legislation just because you're pro-life and you don't offer abortion. You'd be forced to post signs about the services you don't offer. And depending on the legislation, people could sue you if they were aggrieved, if they didn't see the sign, and frankly, pregnancy centers are already serving women with integrity, so there was no evidence, and that's something that the judge said in his opinion in Baltimore, that there was insufficient evidence that pregnancy centers were deceiving women. So this was clearly a political or a viewpoint-motivated attack on pregnancy centers that this court, it's a U.S. District Court in Maryland, has said is unconstitutional.
Well, I think it's good news for our side. I think it's great news for every center. And I guess, Kristen, what would you say would now be the best step that every center could take?
Well, this fight, unfortunately, is not over. As long as you are an individual who cares about life and is standing up to do something about it, unfortunately, you will face some opposition, whether it be legislative or not. So we will unfortunately probably get a challenge to this decision, so it may continue. So each individual really needs to continue to be in prayer and be wise in how they ensure that they defend their center by introducing who they are and what they do to key people in the community, such as state legislators, such as city councils. Make sure that if this type of effort is attempted in your area, that you have already made sure that your legislators and your local representatives know your good work. So that would be our
and Kristen, I know that in some centers that thought might be an anathema. In fact, I'm thinking of a center, right here in my back door, that in talking to, who I consider a good friend, their statement has been repetitive. We don't get involved politically.
Exactly.
And I think that's like putting your head in the sand.
Well, unfortunately, that, in many centers say, who has the time? I'm focused on ministry. Mm-hmm. But the unfortunate thing is Planned Parenthood and NARAL are at the state capitol right now telling their legislators about pregnancy centers and saying lies about what they do. And so it's unfortunate. It doesn't mean you're getting involved in political activity. It doesn't mean that you're lobbying. You're simply being wise in protecting your center by ensuring that people and places of influence know about your good work. So
absolutely. And Kristen, I know just as we've seen in the election and things, that I think people are beginning to wake up to the fact that it's not bad for you to pick up the phone and call your senator or your rep. You know what I mean?
That's right. There, in fact, whether as a pro-life individual, you should be involved in all aspects.
That's right.
You should be involved in pregnancy center ministry, voting your values. But as a pregnancy center leader, the truth is, as a champion of the unborn and sharing the gospel of Jesus Christ, as a follower of Christ, we will receive opposition. Mm-hmm. And Jesus himself said, "Be wise as serpents and as gentle as doves."
That's right.
Unfortunately, that's the case. But as followers of Him, we shouldn't expect that we should have a different experience.
Absolutely. Well, Kristen, if someone wanted to stay in the loop, to stay informed, how can they contact you?
Well, I think you just heard about this news through our Facebook post or perhaps through email. We do have a presence on Facebook. CareNet is on there every day. We'd love to stay in touch with you. Facebook.com/CareNet. Or you could come to our website, which is care-net.org, and sign up for our newsletter there. We'd love to stay in touch with you and help to connect you with your local pregnancy center. I know this is going out to pregnancy centers, but it may be heard by a number of various different people. So
right.
We're thrilled to stay in touch.
Well, thank you, Kristen.
Well, this concludes my interview with Kristen Hansen. To all of you who are listening to this special update, remember, get involved. You need to be involved in your community. You need to be involved making sure that you can be known in your community. If you need help, contact Kristen. She has a lot of information for you. Now remember, keep up the good work you're doing. You are making a difference, and the other side just can't stand it.